Welcome to the AME television show. I am your host, Jason Dowd. We got a great couple of guests coming on for you today that are going to be very educational and also going to be showing you some of their new stuff. Now, if you are an entertainer or you're an artist of any kind, musician, you know that one of the biggest problems that we have is getting our work out there. We don't want it to be a deserted island. And one of the ways that we can do that is through public relations. Now, I have on the line with us Anthony Turk. He happens to be the owner of Turk Public Relations, and he's a celebrity publicist. Now, he's going to give you some tips and tricks on how to get your work out there and how to use a publicist correctly. So if you want to get your work out and you really want to get that name out there for you, he's going to be the guy to talk to, and he's going to get you in that direction of where you need to go. So let's go talk to Anthony Turk right now about public relations, and let's get you seen.
Hey everybody, guess what? You know, one of the best things that you can do is promote yourself when you're an artist, no matter what it is. Whether it's the entertainment field, whether it's your art, whether it's your music, it's very important to get your word out there. And we have a guy here that knows all about that, knows the importance of it, and can give you some tips and tricks. His name is Anthony Turk. I have been a friend of his for a while now. I'm excited to have him on my show to talk about this. So welcome to the show, Anthony. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Jason. It's great to be here. Good to see you today.
Me too. It's the first time we get to meet face to face, which is fun, and we've always been emailing, so it's nice to put a face to the emails.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I do know as an artist, it's hard to get your word out there. You know, you do all this work, and it becomes an island that nobody knows about until you're able to push it out there. And sometimes the best thing to do that is public relations. So tell me a little bit about what public relations is for anybody that may not understand it.
So for what people who don't understand what public relations is getting the word out there to the community, to the world, and it's spreading goodwill about you, yourself, your brand, whatever it is that you're promoting. It's just, with me, I'm a celebrity publicist, and I also do events. And so what my job is to reach out to producers of talk shows, to producers of radio and internet shows, podcasts, to writers and editors of magazines and online publications, and talk shows on television, and also to reach out to event producers and people who are putting on charity events. Because what I need to do is I need to get my clients interviewed, and I need to get my clients out there so that we can promote them and whatever their projects might be at the time. With most of my clients, it's usually a movie or a television show that they're promoting. And so the job of the publicist is just to throw it all out there and let everybody know about it, and so that eventually your name and your face become recognizable to the general public.
I think one of the things that makes it so, attractable for people that are looking to get that and hire a PR agent is that you guys have the connections where we don't necessarily have that. Sometimes it's almost impossible to find somebody online or anything like that. So you have those connections.
It can be, and a lot of times people that work on the media side, they do try to make it difficult because they don't want the general public contacting them. So yeah, I've been doing this for over 2 decades, and so I've accumulated a lot of contacts in my Rolodex, if you will, and so I do know a lot of people. But that being said, even though there are certain producers and writers and editors and stuff that I work with all the time, they're not necessarily going to take everything that I give them, even though that they know me. You have to give them something that they want. You can't give them something that they don't want. So knowing people does help, but it's not always the end all to beat all.
And sometimes quality is important, especially when you're coming to things.
Yes.
So how did you get to be a celebrity publicist? I mean, that's really cool. I mean, not everybody gets to meet celebrities and work with them all the time like you do. So how did it happen for you?
Well, I say this and my other publicist friends get mad at me, but I say I kind of failed at everything else in life, and it was the only thing left to do for me. Sort of kidding. I started out as an actor. I was a child actor, and I worked for years and years as an actor in theater, and then I in the Midwest, and then I moved to Los Angeles. And I started out, I was very successful in commercials, and then I had some big parts in some horrible movies and TV shows, and then I had tiny parts in better TV shows and movies. And all of a sudden one day, I just wasn't getting work anymore. And I had a friend who had a boutique PR firm, and she asked me to come and help her out, and I did. And I found out that I was really good at it. And then I eventually became her partner, and then I eventually bought her out, and I just kept moving with it, and just kept building my clientele, and I've been in this town for so long that, I mean, I have so many friends who are famous. I have neighbors who are famous, and so eventually, it just becomes easier because people just keep meeting people, and people refer other people to you, and now it just kind of all happens organically. Everywhere I go, I'm meeting people, and people are constantly coming to me wanting PR services. So I've been really lucky.
That is really cool, though. But you're able to start your own firm, which is even better. I mean, I'm unemployable. I have to work for myself. I don't know about you, but that's the way I am.
I have a hard time playing nice in the sand with others, and so I kind of do better on my own. And I'm one of the last dinosaur independent publicists in Hollywood. Most of the independent publicists have either partnered up with other people, or they've gone to work for big firms, or they've just closed shop and gone into something else altogether. And maybe someone won the lottery and they don't have to do this anymore. But I'm one of the few that's still plugging away independently, and I'm still able to make a living. So I don't know, I'm doing something right, or maybe I'm not doing something right. That's the problem.
I'm sure I'm going to have people out there asking some questions. What are some of the biggest mistakes people make before they get to PR that makes maybe your job a little bit harder once they decide to bring you guys on?
So this is a great question. You need to know when you're working on a project, whether you're going to be in a movie, or you're producing a play, or you have a book coming out, or you have a product that you want to launch, hire the publicist early. Go to the publicist, try to find a publicist 3 months before you have something to launch, because you need a lead time. There are certain pieces of press, that you can just do right on the spot. All the internet stuff can be done quickly and fast, but there's a lot of stuff like that are long lead stuff where you need preparation and time. And that's like for, like paper magazines and sometimes newspaper stuff, and then booking on like a talk show or something on television. So the biggest thing is, if you're have a project coming up, start looking for your publicist sooner than later. And for all you people out there who are writing books, don't hire a publicist after the book is launched, because the press doesn't want to hear about your book after it's launched. They want to hear about your book 2 months before it goes anywhere. So that's kind of a big thing. The other thing is, you have to know when it is time, especially for actors out there. I know you get a lot of actors that tune into your show and stuff. And for actors, know when it's time to get a publicist. And here's the thing. There are a lot of unscrupulous publicists that just want to take your money, and they are going to give you so much BS for you to write them that check. And here's the thing. If you get a starring role on a TV series, or you're a series regular on a show, yeah, then it's probably time to get a publicist. But if you just have, 3 lines as a co-star guest spot, that wouldn't even be called a guest spot. It'd just be called a co-star on a TV show. Don't bother getting a publicist. Nobody cares. Really, nobody cares about it, And if you're in a movie, if it's a big movie that is getting some good distribution, make sure you're like in the top 5 billing on the movie. Otherwise, don't do it. You have to know when it's time to get PR, because if you get a publicist and maybe they get you just a bunch of parties and stuff like that, that's just one part of it. But you need more than just going to parties, to really make a dent in your career. You need a full-rounded PR campaign. You need to be doing internet, you need to be doing radio, you need to be doing television, you need to be going to charity events, you need to, parties, okay, fine, but too many parties, that's not going to do anything for anybody's career. I don't know. Did I kind of answer the question a little bit?
You did, actually, and you brought up another very important question. It's like, okay, when you're going to be looking for an agent or you're looking for a manager, you gotta look for the people that are not shysters like that. What are some of the things that they need to look at as a publicist to know that they're getting the right person that's not going to fleece them?
Well, what you need to do is you need to ask around. You need to ask other people, other clients that work with that publicist. You should really talk to other people. You should ask agents and managers for referrals. And there's this thing out there where people think that just because you're with a big, huge PR firm that has all these clients and everything and big name people think they're going to get really good exposure there and that they're going to really do well with that PR firm. But a lot of times, if you're kind of a small fish and you don't really have a big name and you're just starting out, you can get so swallowed up in a big PR firm. Why would you want to be at a PR firm where there's 5 people that are just worried about Brad Pitt's hair? You know what I mean? They're not going to have time to deal with you, and you're going to get assigned an assistant or maybe an intern, and you're just not going to, you're going to be paying a lot more money than you would. So you really have to look at, sometimes big PR firms are good, sometimes they're not. There's medium-sized, there's small, there's independent people like me. It just kind of depends on what you got to ask around. You got to ask around and see what other people are saying about the publicist before you sign with anybody.
That's very important.
And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't true. When people, I know publicists that's when there was this big joke that was going on the whole time that the Oprah Winfrey show was always on. And every time any publicist in the world met with a new client, the client would say to them in the meeting with the publicist, at the first meeting, everybody would say, "Oh, and I think this would be really good for Oprah." Okay, and I would just kind of laugh and I'd say, "Well, it would be nice if we can get you on Oprah, but I can't guarantee you we're going to get you on Oprah." And there were so many publicists at the time that would say, "Oh yeah, this would be great for Oprah. I'm going to pitch to Oprah. This sounds good." All that potential new client heard was, "I'm going to be on Oprah. I'm going to be on Oprah." And that's not really what they said, but they led them to believe that. And they do it with other shows. Now it's all about Ellen. "Oh yeah, I can get you on Ellen." A good publicist is not going to guarantee anything. They're going to say, "Listen, I'm going to try for it." They're going to undersell what they can do, and then hopefully their actions will oversell what they promised you. Yeah. That's a good publicist, in my opinion.
Well, you've answered a lot of questions for me today. I hope that your advice has helped out some of my listeners and viewers, of course. And, you've sent me some pretty awesome people. I've met some new friends along the way. And, this has been a fun journey for me, too. And hopefully someday I'll get big enough that I can hire you, too.
Well, and let me tell you something. You're doing a great job, Jason. And the thing is that everybody that I've sent you, I've sent you some good, big series regulars and stuff. And everybody's impressed with what you're doing, and you're doing a great job, And so I hope people keep tuning in. I hope your numbers keep building up and everything, because what you're doing is great. And my clients, they all think you're awesome. So thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing him to me. And guys, I'll tell you what, this is very important. Listen to him. If you need him, these are the type of things you need to look at to make yourself and get your work out there, because your work's got to speak for itself. So thank you, Anthony, for coming on again. How can people find you if they need you?
What am I? Oh my! Isn't this terrible? I think I'm 11 Turkey. Oh my God! Isn't that bad? I'm a publicist who doesn't know. Yeah, I'm 11 Turkey, 11 Turkey on Instagram. That's the best place to find me. 11 Turkey on Instagram, or you can go to turkpr.net. Turkpr.net. That's my blog site. So that's where I am.
Once again, Anthony, thank you for coming on. This is great advice, and I'm really excited for this information to get out there in front of our people and our listeners, and I hope they take it in.
Awesome, my friend. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, take care.
What do you want? You want Gladys Goodies? You want to try chicken? How about turkey? You want to try turkey? You never tried sweet potato before. How about we give you a sweet potato? It might help your stomach. You do? Well, there's only one place to get it, and that is GladysGoodies.com, where you can get the chicken, the turkey, the sweet potato, salmon, beef, and more. Should we show them the website one more time so they know where to get it? Well, I'm going to listen to puppies, so here's the website. If you want all natural, healthy treats with no chemicals, byproducts, or other harmful ingredients, GladysGoodies.com is the place for you. We got the treats and the swag to make their tails wag.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Anthony Turk and all the information he gave. Now we have a great guest coming out. He is a very talented musician named Jesse Goodman. He is a multi-lingual musician and singer-songwriter. He plays multiple instruments, which is kind of rare in today's society. And he's a music educator. He just came out with a brand new CD called Move to the Moozika, Moozika. It's a great children's CD, and I think you guys are going to really like it. We're going to learn about how he got into this, how he learned about all these different instruments, how he learned to play them, and what inspires him the most. So let's go talk to Jesse right now and learn about his brand new CD called Move to the Moozika.
Hey everybody, I have on the line with us our special guest. His name is Jesse Goldman. He is an outstanding musician, and honestly, his credentials are pretty incredible. He is a bilingual singer-songwriter. He is a multi-instrumentalist, and he's a music educator. And he's got a brand new album out called Move to the Moozika. I love the sound of that. That's fun to say. Welcome to the show, Jesse. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show. Doing very well. Thank you.
Well, it sounds like you have a deep root in music. When did it start for you?
I started, I guess, when I was really little, starting on, just singing on my own and then starting piano. And my family was always very musical. My mom played piano and stuff and was involved in dance. And then I got really into music, I'd say as a teenager, got into jazz. I was also playing viola at the time and then started up a band. And I just loved just the connection you could have with other musicians and just the feeling of joy and that just creating music together with other people could bring. So that really just sparked things along, and since then I've been loving music.
So how many instruments can you play? Because that's pretty impressive. It's hard enough to play one, let alone multiple ones. I'd love to know which ones you've been able to play.
Yeah, so primarily, my number one instrument always go back to the voice. So, singing, that's where, my compositions all start. And then playing keyboard, playing guitar, playing some bass, playing organs, accordion, some marimba. I learned some cuica from Brazil for this album too, doing harmonica, a whole bunch of just different sound makers, percussion, things like that. That's just part of the joy for me of music, and it makes me connect too with kids who are learning a new instrument. It's just like another toy to pick up, some instrument I've never touched before. Oh, like what sounds can I get out of this?
Now, as an educator in music, are you working in a school system, or do you simply just have like private lessons, like you have your own studio where people come in and learn from it?
So I have my own studio and I do group classes. So I've been running a program. So Moozika is both this album and my band, and then also my music program for kids. I'm about to enter my 6th year running it. And so it's for kids like 4 years old and younger. So as young as couple months old. They come with their parents, come with their babysitters, nannies. And so there's about 10 to 15 kids in a class. And it's a 45-minute session, and we do just a whole bunch of different, ways of engaging with music and our bodies and drumming and moving around. So movement has always been part of it. And I think that's also where the title of the album came out of, Move to the Moozika, because it's all about the play of music and the movement in our bodies and how we connect with music in that way.
Well, the human soul and body has always been completely engulfed with music, even way back in the early times. It really does play a very influential part in our lives, whether we know it or not. It can bring us to good times. It can bring us to bad times. It can get us out of a deep depression. It can put us in an amazing mood. It can do all kinds of amazing things to us. It defines cultures. And I think that, working with children, especially with music at early ages, is very important, because not only does music help them out with their everyday life, and actually I think it helps them with their grades too. All art does that. And it gives them a way to express themselves. And I know for me, I was never very, I guess you could say, inclined with sports. I was not very good. Yeah. But if it wasn't for art in some way, shape, or form, I wouldn't have had much to define my childhood. So I think that's very important. What do you see with that? Do you see that the kids that take music, do they actually perform better in school than in life?
So I definitely see, in terms of the growth, so both in terms of like doing the little, I have kids that I've had in class since they were like a couple months old, and then they graduate from my program at like 4 years old or something like that. And just seeing, those are just huge changes, going on anyways. But then musically too, it's so exciting. Like I have a little boy, Elijah, who I just ran into recently with his mom. And he was like super shy when he started class, and he was like staying with his mom. And then by the end of it, he was like out in the middle of the floor, and was very comfortable socially too. And he just loved music and was dancing around. Always bringing his ukulele. And I just ran into them, and she said that he just can't stop, making up songs, and he's doing it all the time. And so he wants to, he's going to continue to create music. So certainly both like in terms of cognitive development, in terms of social development, and just emotional development too. Music is so important in terms of both, lifting the spirit as you were talking about, but also, calming us down when we're getting really worked up. And so that's been wonderful to hear from parents who, play the album for their children, playing like the lullaby to calm things down, or, if you have to start cleaning up, using the cleanup song too, or just like at bath time, playing different songs. So it's like, it just becomes a part of, your daily life, that music, as it should be. I mean, it picks up your mood. So
I also believe that music is one of the only actual forms of time travel we have right now. Because I know as you get older, it may not be for children, but as you get older, you hear a song from like 1940s, and it takes you back to there. You can see the people swinging and dancing and stuff like that to it. Even in your own life, there was one song that I used to hear, "Too Many Walls" by Kathy Davis. It used to send me back to a certain time in my life, and it always give me these visions and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think music is incredible if you just sit there and listen to it.
Yes. Oh, totally. I mean, I have so many songs like that. And I think that again is why it's so important to start early on with children, because these songs and these forms, this will stay with them their whole lives, and just become, a place to keep returning, and making life that much more beautiful and exciting. And yeah, I think that's totally true about the time travel aspect of it, which is interesting because obviously music is dealing with time too, and that one song I love exploring. A lot of these songs are shorter, like 2-3 minutes, but like just how far you can go, what kind of adventure can you go on in just a couple minutes. You're like, I have my song about a moose on the loose in Manhattan, and you're like running all through the city, you're on the subway, then you're in the taxi, then you're in the home, and so I find that very fun about kids' music particularly. You can really go on a journey.
Now, I know that we all do stuff in life to be able to survive. We gotta be able to survive, pay for our bills and stuff like that. But there's two types of rich in this world, and one of them is being monetarily rich, and one of them is being rich with experiences and some of the joys that our stuff brings to people. What is one of those things that makes it so special for you to do what you do?
I think the biggest part is just creating in the moment with children. So coming in with a song that I've made up, and then being there with them and improvising and seeing how we can keep coming up with new parts to it, and where can it go, and then just seeing them liven up, and to own that we're all creators of music, and that it's a collective experience. And I think that that feeling, and seeing it too, particularly as I was sharing too with this little boy Elijah, like other kids like that who are a little shyer, and there's nothing wrong with being more shy, but like just seeing how music can open up kids' lives. I think that's really the most fulfilling, because that was certainly true in my own life. I mean, later on as a teenager, and just going through different challenges in my family and whatnot, but really music was so important to me to connect to my own emotions and connect to other people. And so I see it, whether they're little kids or older, I see it happening, and I find that so beautiful.
Now, there's two parts to this question. I wanted to know why you decided to work with children's music. And then I also want to know, sometimes music can do some really amazing things for children with autism or any types of other type of disabilities. Do you see that too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had some children on the spectrum, and they, in different ways, just connecting to music in a way that they might not connect to other kids too. And I think it's another way, that this is a beautiful form of communication, and a way of going deeper. So I think that, I just see the potential in so many different places, for opening up, lines of communication that aren't already there.
And why did you choose to make music for children and work with children?
Yes, so I decided, I guess early on, so my mother was a kindergarten teacher, and I would go into her classroom and sub, and just being with the kid. I just loved how they would, liven up and the interactions. So that early on, I had interest in being with kids. And then later I finished grad school for writing musical theater, and I was kind of burned out on musicals and writing a whole full-length show. And I was really looking for something else. And a friend was doing something in community gardens with kids. And so we wrote some songs about kale and composting and, whatever other, little chicken song running around. And it was just so fun, and I felt so free. And so I just saw as a songwriter, it made sense for me. Since I began writing songs, they were often very playful. The first song I wrote in high school was about Curious George and the Man in the Yellow Hat. And so just like having a form to write playful songs that are also like heartfelt and, have bigger meaning and importance, felt great. And then to actually work with kids with the songs and see, what comes out of them and how I get inspired. I just love the process of working with kids with that.
So let's take the last few minutes of this thing to talk about your CD called "Move to the Moozika." I think this is really an interesting album. Tell me a little bit about the stories behind it and what it offers.
Yeah, so "Move to the Moozika." So it comes out of 5.5 plus years of teaching Moozika classes, and so both like stories that have come up from my own experience growing up in New York, and then kids. So it's a very like city-based adventure album, I call it. And so we have songs about Brooklyn, where my classes are based. We have songs about running from a moose through Manhattan. We have songs about then also just songs about making soup. So a very silly soup song. And so I guess the through line is that they're different city-based adventures, and then also it's a bilingual album, so about half the songs are also in Spanish, and that's something that I think is also really important, to start at a young age, to have kids, not only exposed to different types of music, which this album, there's a broader range of styles, so it's from like rock, some Latin styles, some folk, some blues, I have some foro from Brazil. So it's about like expanding kids' ears to both different styles of music, and then also to Spanish, and doing that from a young age, which I was lucky to have as well in my house. So it's really, and it's very playful and also heartfelt. So.
What are your goals for this album? What do you hope that it does for not only the listener, but just in music in general too?
Well, I guess the big goal is to get, about expanding children's ears, about listening to different types of music, about getting excited, about learning other languages, that they come away excited to, create their own versions of the songs too, as I know many kids just do anyway, but like, that they'll just make up whatever verses, because a lot of the songs lend themselves to that. Like there's a song about, like a bird chasing a worm and then a cat chasing the cat. It's like you can add on whatever you want. So I really hope kids walk away, finding new ways to engage with it. And that parents do too. I mean, this is really, it's for kids, but it's definitely, I sincerely feel like adults will get a lot out of it and won't get tired hearing it, because obviously with kids, they love hearing it over and over and over again. So I hope that, in the family, you can find like new fun ways to keep it fresh.
Well, I like that too, especially when the adults can spend the time with the kids and not be burned out with it, like the Barney song and everything else that we're used to hearing. It's just like, it just doesn't apply to them anymore. They want to shoot themselves after they're done listening to it for so long.
Yeah.
So that's nice that you have a style that even the adults can enjoy and not completely lose their minds.
Yeah, that was definitely a priority. And for myself, I just can't create music that I'm not, that doesn't excite me. And I mean, recording this album took, quite some time, and I heard these songs over and over, but it had to be exciting for me. So I definitely hope it's exciting for adults as well. So, and there was
got any feedback from it yet?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, parents love it. I mean, the kids love it and the parents are loving it. So I've shared it thus far with just my own students, which has been a great way. Also, part of the goal is to, have my program, just more kids coming in, and I do only original music in class too. So I want them to be able to go home and listen. And then the album too is a way that, kids who aren't in my classes can kind of experience, what it's like to be in a class and to kind of get a feel for the Moozika program. So I'm going to also I've been doing some concerts, but I'm going to do a lot more touring with the album, going to schools and different venues, and finding ways to collaborate with teachers too, in creating support material so that they can, apply these songs to classes and figure out their own ways to do them.
Sounds amazing. And I love what you're doing. We're running out of time, so I want to be able to have people reach out to you, find you, listen to the music, buy this album, or collaborate with you on their own classrooms or whatever they have. So tell everybody where they can find you.
Great. So so you can visit www.moozika.com, and that's Moozika. So Moo and then Zika.com. So you can find me through that. You can email me directly, jesse@moozika.com. And so the album is going to come out October 25th. And if anybody's in Brooklyn or nearby, come out. We're going to have a big release party October 26th in Brooklyn. So all the details you can find on the website.
Well, I got to say, it's probably one of the coolest and funnest names to say for an album I've ever run into. Very creative. You sound like a very amazing creative person, and we're so glad to have you on here. I happen to know a lot of teachers myself, so I'll definitely tell them about your program, and maybe we can really reach out and do some amazing stuff for kids.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Jason. Yes, I'm up for any type of collaboration. People want to reach out, have any questions, and I'd love that.
Well, we love it too. Thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have to get you back on here to talk about more stuff in the future, because we only have so much time, but we definitely appreciate you taking that time to be with us and sharing what you love to the world.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Jason.
If any other industry tried to do something like this, they'd go to jail.
Stuart Venner helps people out of timeshares. He warns we're pawns.
Yes, we are.
Venner says timeshares lose so much value they're nearly worthless when buyers opt to sell.
If you can get anything, it's really a miracle.
When there aren't any nibbles, Venner's tried giving deeds back to developers, but he says they refuse.
They're telling people it's worth $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, and I offer it to them for nothing, and they don't want it back.
Finance guru Dave Ramsey goes farther, labeling timeshares one of the biggest scams to.
Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, buyyourtimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1 and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME. 877-94-HELP-ME.
If you like the show today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share, and comment below. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook at The AME Experience, also Twitter at The AMEEX, and of course you can find us at www.theamemagazine.com. All right, everybody, we are back. We're closing out the show. I'm so glad you spent some time with me today. You know, I love doing this. I love going on all these adventures. I love talking to such amazing people, giving you point of view adventures. That's what this whole AME television show is all about. But we're not just limited to what we're talking about with arts. We're also going to bring in politics. We're going to bring in different points of view. This is really an eclectic show. So I hope you continue to tune in because we've got some more guests coming up in the near future. So before you go, check out our websites, www.theamemagazine.com. When you're there, you'll be able to see all the links to all of our shows, the radio, television, and magazine. If you miss something, it's there. Go be inspired. You can also see the links to our social media networks, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also sign up for our newsletter and download our apps on our Apple or Android platform completely free so you can see what's in the know and have the AME experience in your hands at all times. So until then, guys, we have more coming up. I know you're not gonna want to miss it. Keep checking the website to see who we got coming out, and keep those creative juices flowing. We'll see you on the next adventure. If you like the show today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share, and comment below. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook at The AME Experience, also Twitter at The AMEEX, and of course you can find us at www.theamemagazine.com.
Like, OMG, you were on TV and junk.